What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Six Pack Network. I am your host, Dylan Clemons, and today my co-host is Joe Bond, founder of Fantasy Six Pack, and we are continuing our training camp check-in shows where we are going around to all 32 NFL teams and interviewing a beat writer or reporter on what they've seen in training camp. In this episode, I couldn't be more excited, but we finally have gotten to the Chicago Bears, and here helping us talk about them is Lester Wiltfong, who is the editor-in-chief over at Windy City Gridiron. Lester, appreciate you giving us your time in such a busy part of the year. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, guys. How y'all doing?
Very good, very good.
Good, man.
Before we jump into the interview, I just want to remind everyone, please hit that like button, please subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell for notifications so you know when a new video drops. And then head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans where you can become an all-access member. That's where you get access to our award-winning rankings, draft cheat sheets, and F6P Discord where you could ask all your custom league questions to anybody on the F6P staff. That truly is the best part. And right now you can also save a little bit of money by using promo code F6PNFL24 for 15% off. But without further ado, Joe, how about you hit Lester with the first question we have for him?
Yeah, man. I'm going to read your paragraph, Dylan. No, so for real though, like obviously the big headliner of the offense, the new offense this year is rookie Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick. How has he looked in this offense, the Shane Waldron offense? Has he looked comfortable? We'll start there.
Yeah, I mean, it's the cool thing about the Shane Waldron offense. I mean, there's 3 years of data to look at, right, from Seattle. And the cool thing is it seems like every year in Seattle, he kind of did what his personnel dictated. So, he wasn't always, 3 receiver set. He wasn't always 3 tight end set. He kind of did what he had to do based on what he had there. And with the Bears offense, I mean, there's a lot of talent there, obviously. So Caleb Williams in year 1 anyway should just be a part of the machine. I mean, he's kind of come in, he's comfortable in camp. I mean, the defense is a pretty good defense that he's facing each day. So they've generally got the better of the offense pretty much every day, and especially the days I was there too, they got the better of it. But Caleb looks comfortable. He had a good jump start on the scheme because everyone knew it was going to be the Bears, right, taking him. So he kind of worked with the QB collective, that they're familiar with Shane Waldron. He's worked with them. So he's had the schemes and the concepts even before he was a Bear. So he's pretty comfortable with what he's being asked to do here in Chicago.
Yeah. So second question on this is, with a defensive-minded head coach, and you've already said that, they've got a great defense, and we all know that. Is the head coach going to let Caleb, just do his thing and throw this ball, 30, 35 times a game? Or are we going to see a little more conservative approach with him in his rookie year?
That's the big question. I mean, a lot of Bears fans thought Coach Flus should have been let go after the season. Even though the Bears improved and went to, from 3 wins to 7 wins, it seemed like, look, they're getting a chance to draft a quarterback, number 1 overall. Let's reset the whole thing. So a lot of fans wanted a reset, coaching staff on down. That's not what they did. They kept Flus. Last year, he was really conservative as a play caller on defense. He was conservative with what he set his offense to do. I mean, they blew, I think, 3 fourth quarter, like historic blew 3 leads in the fourth quarter, double-digit leads. It's never happened before. So, that's the question. Can Flus kind of scale back a bit? Can he let Waldron do his thing and just trust it to happen? I think he can. I mean, we look throughout the league, there's always coaches. I mean, coaches can grow too, right? I mean, it's not just players that develop. So maybe Flus looks at his team, said, hey, we got talent upgrades all over the place. Let's just let this kind of play out. And then I'm going to step back and just trust Waldron because, like I said, he's an established, there's a track record of what he's done. With Getsy, first-year play caller, they kind of had to do some things for Fields. Last year, it didn't really develop the way that I don't think the offense was expected to. So this year, fresh start, let Waldron do his thing.
Yeah.
I definitely hope that's the case. I've been a little bit shying away from drafting Caleb Williams on my fantasy teams just because I'm not sure there's going to be a ton of volume there because of the way Flus coaches. And
it's always
preaches that he just wants his quarterback to take care of the football. Go ahead, Joe.
And it's always just kind of that rookie, like they're still rookies. And like, there's not a lot of like rookie quarterbacks who really, jump. There's not a lot of CJ Stroud, right? Like he was kind of the like, oh, okay. Kind of bonus question. This wasn't listed here, but we getting 4,000 yards?
That's the number, right? I mean, look, the number for the Bears, the rookie numbers are so terrible. I mean, like he would have to get like he could possibly set the rookie franchise record for passing by the bye. I mean, that's definitely possible. As far as going 4,000, I mean, it's there. I mean, it's a 17 game season now. A lot of weapons.
Got the weapons.
If he's healthy, I think there's a chance. But I mean, for me, I think 3,500 yards would be a great target for him. If he hits it, great. If not, I mean, I think he'll be close. But like I said, regardless, those rookie passing records are going to be shattered this year.
Cool. To hear that. Right. Like to hear that. Looking at the backfield now, Lester. Bears signed DeAndre Swift, one of the first signings in all of free agency. So he seemed like they really wanted him. They also have Khalil Herbert in the backfield, who we've seen at times be very efficient and be a very solid back. And they also drafted Roschon Johnson last year as like a special teams guy, a third down role as a pass blocker, all that. In the fantasy community, we hate running backs by committee but who do you see being the odd man out in this backfield? Or do you foresee all three of these guys having a role in this offense?
I when they drafted Swift, obviously I thought, well, they're paying him pretty good money. He's going to be obviously be the main guy. But, like you said, teams don't really have a bell cow these days, especially Swift. He's not like a big bulking guy where you can take a pounding. The cool thing about Swift is they're going to split him out wide. He can run routes as a receiver. He can go out and play the slot as well. So you may see some two guys in the backfield at once with Swift kind of, flexed out. As far as the odd man out, I thought it was going to be Khalil Herbert. Just because he's not as good of an all-around football player as Roschon Johnson, who can pass block for you, catch out of the backfield, pick up the blitz. That's never been Herbert's forte. But then, of course, Roschon Johnson has some injuries. Virginia Tech, so of course, Roschon's had some injuries again. We saw the injuries kind of slow him down last year. So Herbert's kind of established himself again. Like Herbert is a very talented runner. I mean, that's what he is. He is a couple of years ago, he led the league in average. Last year, his average was higher than the average across the league in preseason. He's doing it again. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry, I believe, in preseason. So I think somehow they're going to figure out a way to get Herbert involved. And I think it may be Swift, obviously number one, but then it may be kind of like a committee approach with the number two, depending on what they need. Do they need a guy that comes in more and pass block more? Are they trying to ice away a victory? If so, they may just give the ball to Herbert because he's a much better runner.
Absolutely. Yeah. That definitely makes sense. Like when there was a report or a rumor, I don't even know if it was a report, that Herbert could be on the roster bubble, but it's like, I don't see that making sense. Why would you cut a guy who doesn't make a whole lot of money as he was a 5th or 6th round pick? And he's been good. So I think Herbert will have a decent role in the offense.
I mean, he is in his last year of his contract. So, I mean, if a team comes calling that needs a running back and they're offering a late round draft pick for Herbert, I think the Bears would listen just because we have a pretty strong room. They also have Travis Homer, who's good on third downs as well. Ian Wheeler is undrafted free agent, looked pretty good in preseason.
Yep.
Velus Jones is being converted to tailback now. So the Bears may feel they're comfortable enough if a team comes calling with an offer. Herbert is probably the guy they could deal because, like I said, they're not going to re-sign him just because the way the running back market is these days. So if you can get a 5th, 6th round pick for him, I think they may do it.
Yeah,
I mean, that makes sense.
Tell you, somebody, I held up the Virginia Tech helmet. He transferred from, I believe it was Kansas, over to Virginia Tech, and I was like, "Who's this guy?" Like, he hadn't really done anything in Kansas. That dude was a monster for Virginia Tech, man. So, like, I mad respect for him. I hope he figures it out and has a great role there. But moving over to the wide receiver room. Who's looking like they've got the best chemistry with Caleb Williams so far out of this receiver trio?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of been all over the place, as far as who he goes to. There isn't really one guy he's locked on. I will say this, the stuff when I was at camp, and I've talked to some guys that have been there every day, as far as the receivers go, I'm guessing it's probably his top guy, probably going to be DJ Moore again. I mean, he's just, a fantastic football player. The Bears just made him the highest, paid player in team history, so they obviously believe in DJ Moore. Great after the catch, good route runner. He kind of plays all over that offense for them. So I think Moore is going to be the main guy as far as targets. Then after that, it's tough to say because with Keenan Allen, I mean, obviously he does most of his work out of the slot. He's still going to start for you, but then he'll play the slot, when they go when 3 receiver sets. But Rome Odunze is so good. I mean, he is so talented. He's another guy. He can kind of play outside and the slot as well. He did it at Washington. So I think Moore is going to be your clear cut number one as far as targets go. But after that, I would not be surprised to see Odunze, towards the end of the year anyway, creeping up towards the number 2 target share.
Huh. Interesting.
Keenan
Allen managers do not like to hear that.
Lester, is Keenan Allen been, when they've been on with 2 wide receiver sets, 2 tight end sets, has it been Keenan Allen outside of DJ Moore, or has Rome seen some work in 2 wide receiver sets as well?
Keenan Allen said early on in camp that he's the starter, so he's playing the Z, where with DJ Moore at the X, and then when they go 3 receiver sets, then he moves to the slot. I'm not sure what they call it in their scheme. I think they call it the F. I'm not sure how they call it in their system. But yeah, Keenan Allen is the starter. He has been since day one. But then when they go 3 receiver sets, he'll kind of kick down, and then Odunze will kind of play that outside receiver. But like I said, Odunze, he has been learning all positions. A lot of times with a rookie receiver, he comes in and, look, you're the X. That's it. Learn the X. That's all we want you to do. But with Odunze, he's learned all 3 positions already as a rookie. They're comfortable with him in there. He's going to get a lot of playing time. And again, with Waldron, he'll kind of look for matchups. If he feels the team can be attacked with 3 receivers, he'll do that. If he feels it's better to go 2 tight end set against an opponent, he'll do that. So we got to kind of see how these goes, but I think it may be kind of a week-to-week thing as far as the targets.
All right. That's fair. Looking at the tight end position here, Lester, they bring in Gerald Everett, who's worked with Shane Waldron in the past, and he's kind of been known for a pass catcher. But you also have a solid tight end here already with Cole Kmet, who's been pretty fantasy relevant the last 2 years. I'm curious your thoughts. Who do you see leading this room in targets? And with the addition of Everett, has Cole kind of been kicked inside as the inline tight end and Everett kind of as the move tight end?
Yeah, that's kind of how it was when they signed Everett. The plan was, I think, for him to be the move guy. And I also think they signed Everett without realizing they're going to have a chance at Odunze. So I think, Everett, while I like the signing, his role may be lessened even more now because you got, a third talented receiver in Odunze. Yeah. So, I think with Cole Kmet, he will be your primary inline blocker, the Y. We're going to see him get his. I mean, he's just, like I said, he's a talented football player. He has really good hands. He's not the fastest. He's not going to be the guy that kind of goes out there and plays the move tight end role. But I would not be surprised to see his targets come down just because Everett's going to have to get a few. I will say this, though, the stuff I've heard coming out of camp is there has not been a lot of Cole Kmet targeted in practice anyway. Part of it is probably they want to get the new guys acclimated to the offense. But, again, we got to see how this target share goes. It's going to be week to week with this. The thing with fantasy tight ends is, if you don't have one of the top few guys, the rest is kind of like whoever, I'm just going to get my guy. Like for me, I'm not drafting a tight end early. I'm going to wait. If I don't get one of the top dogs, I'm going to wait, pick up a couple guys late and kind of play the matchup game because that's what Waldron will do with Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett.
No, that makes sense. All right. So kind of led us into this last question here that we have for everybody who's come on. And, because we are a fantasy focused show, we would like to ask something that's a little more fantasy focused at the very end here. And what we've been asking everybody is, who's a player in camp that you've seen who is going to surprise, good or bad, that fantasy managers need to know about?
I think I mentioned him. I think Kmet's the one guy because, like I said, he's in that next tier, right, of tight ends. He's not the top guys, but he's in that mix. But like I said, in camp, there's not a lot of targets coming his way. We've seen him play a couple preseason games now, and he obviously had the really fantastic catch on the sideline. Yeah. So he'll be in the mix a little bit. But then this last week, we saw Gerald Everett kind of, it seemed like they wanted to force him a couple looks here early. So they may do that during the season. So as far as, again, it's not a big surprise, but I think Cole might be the guy that, I would not draft him, anywhere near as your top tight end because, again, it's so hard to tell how they're going to distribute the ball here with so many weapons. So Cole's probably the guy that I would kind of stay away from.
He's definitely a late tight end target for a lot of people, but it's been a guy I've shied away from. And kind of like I've sort of compared to their previous season's value, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen have kind of depressed their values too, just because there's so many more mouths to feed. And DJ Moore and Keenan Allen both have never had that like other guy to like compete with for targets. And so now they've got each other. And I do think they're going to eat away from each other a little bit, but it'll be interesting to watch. It's going to be a fun offense, I feel like. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Moore's numbers come down from last year. Obviously, set career high last year. I wouldn't be surprised if his numbers came down a bit, but he's just more efficient because the offense will be better.
Yeah. Hopefully he can have a little more downfield passes. I felt like he was a big screen guy last year with Fields. But all right, man. Lester, this was great. Glad to have you on. Before we close up, though, want to give you the opportunity to let everybody know where they can find you and what you got going on this season.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Wiltfong Jr. Everything I write is sent over to WindyCityGridiron.com, and all our podcast and video stuff is on Second City Gridiron.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, man. Well, thank you again, and hopefully we can do it again.
Sounds good. Anytime.
Thanks, Lester. Bear down.
All right. So that's it for the Chicago Bears training camp check-in. I want to thank you guys for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, hit those comments. We'd love to hear from you. And go check out the playlist for all the other team training camp check-ins that we've had. And good luck this season.